for med math. So we're going to start at number 1, just follow along. The method I'm going to show you is a little bit different. It's the way I learned how to do conversions in organic chemistry. So it may take a little getting used to, a little practice, but if you learn this way, it'll make it much easier. You have to do this in less than 10 minutes, so we might have to do more than one video. Okay, so we're starting with number 1. Okay, for metric conversions or any math problem you have to start with whatever you know, whatever information you know. In this case, we know that we have 3 kilograms and we're trying to convert it to a gram. Now remember your conversions, which I'm going to send probably Mr. Wesley a conversion sheet and let him distribute it, but how many grams do you have in a kilogram? Don't act like you don't know what a kilo is. Alright, there's 1,000 grams in a kilogram. Alright, so let's start with what we know for number 1. Number 1, we have 3 kilograms. Alright, now I'm going to do what I call a T-bar. Alright, and now you put in your conversion factor. How many grams do you have to a kilogram? Alright, now first, you need to know where to put your units. Whatever you start with is going to be in this top left corner. Alright, so whatever's in this top left corner, you have to put that same unit diagonally from it so you can cancel it out. Alright, so for every 1 kilogram, we have 1,000 grams. So here's your conversion factor. It's the same thing that's on your sheet. 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. Right, that's a fact. And now that we have kilograms up here and down here, we can cancel out our units. And here's the way the T-bar works. First, you multiply everything that's on top and get your answer. And then you divide it by whatever's on the bottom. Right? So this is how it should look on your paper. Right? And after a while, this will just get really easy. But anyway, you take 3 times 1,000. And you're going to divide it by 1. Right? We know that 3 times 1,000 equals 3,000, and if it's divided by 1, it's still 3,000. But 3,000 doesn't mean anything without a unit, so 3,000 what? The only unit you're left with is your grams. So your answer is 3,000 grams. Alright, so that's the answer to number 1 on your worksheet. Alright, let's do an example, another example just to reinforce this. Actually, we don't have to do another example because we have something that's very similar for number 2. Alright, so kind of take that in, pause your whatever YouTube video or however I'm going to post this, and just look at it. Good. Done with that? Alright, moving on to number 2. Alright, start with what you know. What do you know? You have 250 milligrams. Okay, draw your T-bar. Then you're going to put in your conversion factor. We're going from milligrams to what? Milligrams to grams. Now, for most of you that are watching this right now on July whatever, you better know what a milli is because I taught you medical terminology. Alright, a milli is 1/1000th. It's a fraction. So to 1 gram, you have 1,000 milligrams, which is what most of our medications are calculated in. So your milligrams cancel out, and now you're left with 250 times 1, which equals 250. Okay. Go ahead and put grams there if you like. And you're going to divide it by what's on the bottom. 1,000 is on the bottom. Okay, so take your calculator. You know I'm bad at math, so I have to use my calculator. Look at it. 250 divided by 1,000. Okay, it gives you 0.25. Okay, but once again, 0.25 means nothing unless you have a unit. Your unit is what's left standing, which is your grams. And since we're trying to get to grams, this is your answer. You can stop here, 0.25 grams. Now, you've probably already learned this, but this 0 right here is called a leading zero. it means it's leading the rest of this number. You put a leading 0 in anytime you have a decimal. If I didn't have this leading 0, and my decimal wasn't very strong, you could possibly mistake that for 25 grams instead of 0.25 grams, and then your patient's dead, you're getting sued, the doctor's getting sued, you lose your house, you lose your car, you lose your phone. So don't do that. Just put your leading 0. Oh, there we go. Don't get anybody in trouble. Alright, so 0.25 grams is the answer to number 2. Alright? That's easy enough. Let's go to one that's a little bit less familiar. Number 3, going from milligrams to micrograms. Alright, a microgram is another 1/1000th fraction. 1 microgram is 1,000th of a milligram. Alright, blah blah blah. Okay, so number 3, start with what you know. You have 34 milligrams. Okay, do your T-bar. Think about what goes down here. Whatever's up here goes down here for your conversion factor. So you're going from milligrams to micrograms. Alright, this is also on your conversion sheet that I'll be giving you. Alright, for every 1 milligram you have 1,000 micrograms. Big number, okay? So you have 34, milligrams cancel out, very important to cancel out your units. 34 times 1,000 micrograms, alright? Divided by 1. Okay, that gives you 34,000. We'll get your unit, micrograms. Alright, and that's your answer to number 3. Alright. Alright, let's kind of move down the list and let's do number 20. Okay, number 20 we have 4.56 liters. Alright, and we're trying to go to milliliters. Now just a side note, the milliliter should be lowercase m, capital L, because that lowercase l could be mistaken for an I. I didn't make the worksheet, so I don't take responsibility for that. Alright, so 4.56 liters. You gotta do your conversion factor. You're going from liters to milliliters. So whatever's up here, once again, you put down here. So liters goes on the bottom, milliliters on the top. Alright, for every 1 liter you have 1,000 milliliters. Cancel your units out. And then do your multiplication. 4.56 times 1,000 milliliters gives you, okay, let's just do it on my calculator. This is sad. Alright. Oh wait, where's the camera? 4.56. There we go. Times 1,000 equals 4,560. Okay, 4,560 what? Milliliters. Little m, big L. That's a very important thing to know. Don't go by what's on the worksheet. Lowercase m, capital L every time. Because that means liter. Right. So you have 4,560 milliliters to that 4.56 liters. Alright, now it's very important to keep track of your units. And also another tip, whatever you end up with in this top right corner, that should be your answer, your unit. So since we ended with milliliters is your answer. If somehow you were to have liters up here in the top right corner, you've done something wrong, you need to go back and fix it and look at it. Alright, just look at it overall and make sure it makes sense. Alright, I'm going to have to pause this and go into another video. So we'll go to video 2 in just a second. Bye.